Hey, it's Jason here at Petals from the Past. We're picking out a peach tree today, and of course, we're looking at stone fruit. So peaches, plums, nectarines, all those guys fall into this category. And when we're selecting a tree, I usually look for a couple of things I wanted to show you today. I look for a nice, healthy bark, no cuts, no gelling or anything like that. This is a nice one. I look for a good graft or bud union. This tree was budded right here onto this rootstock. I love to see a label. This variety is called July Prince, and it's on Guardian rootstock. So that tells us a lot about how this tree is going to grow. Guardian's a great rootstock in our area for resistance to nematodes and other disease and insect problems. But where I want to plant this is going to be about 2 inches below the bud. So I love to be able to see that that bud union is nicely represented above the soil line there. Following it up, look at this. We've already got some good scaffold limb branching. When we get this guy to the planting hole, we're going to break or clip out the central leader. But if we've already got several good limbs to choose from that are going to be our scaffold limbs for bearing fruit, we're way ahead of the game. So a nice tree. I think I'm going to choose this one, and then we're going to go out and put this in the ground. So you're here at the nursery, and you remember you're choosing your fruit trees from this area. But while you're here, we definitely want you to take time to have a look out here and see where the fruit trees are already growing. We've got a whole row here of stone fruit. So over on this side, we've got all of our mature peaches. These guys are 20 years old, and you can see what you should anticipate. So remember, our whole approach to gardening is from an educational standpoint. We want for you to be able to visit and see how large these trees can be. So it makes sense to you how far apart to plant them and how tall they're going to get. So peaches here behind me, and then if you look over here, those are the plums in the far distance on the other side of the beehives. So plums there, another great stone fruit. You can see how tall, our pruning technique, and get a little better feel for what to anticipate when they're fully grown. All right, so we're going to plant our peach tree today. And again, this is an appropriate video for peach, plum, nectarine, cherry tree. We kind of collectively throw them into the stone fruit category. That means these types of fruits make a pit right in the middle. I've selected today a Galactica variety of peach. Love that peach. It's one of the old-fashioned varieties that has a donut shape. So they're sometimes called donut-shaped peaches or donut peaches. My wife Shelley loves them. This is her favorite. So I'm going to get a lot of brownie points for planting this today. What are the tools that you need? Well, you need the right tree. You need a good pair of clippers to start off with. I love my trenching shovel. So not the great big pointed shovel, but something that'll break through our clay. This more narrow trenching shovel does a much better job for us. And then I've got my black cow composted manure. So a good compost to go in with our existing soil is going to make a key effort. I've pre-dug the hole, and if you remember our rule of thumb, we want to dig the holes the same depth that the fruit plant is growing, but we want to dig it wider. So we've gone about 1.5 times as wide. And when I look at this particular tree, I always love to have my label. This variety, this label tells me this is Galactica peach, the variety I want, and it's grafted or budded onto Guardian rootstock right there. So one of the things I like to do is lift it out, kind of get a feel for it. I want to see a good root system like we see there. Thankfully, lots of good roots. We're here in February, which is a wonderful month to be planting fruit trees. Central Alabama, we like to plant November, December, January, February, and on into March, and then usually by the 1st of April, we're wrapping it up. Now, this rootstock Guardian is sending up some shoots down low that we don't need. We want everything, all the growth coming from up here. So we'll go ahead and pre-prune those rootstock shoots away, get those out of there. During the growing season, you might have a couple of 3 others that will come out from there, and when you do see them below that bud union right there, just clip them away. Now going up the tree, we've already got a scaffold limb started here, a scaffold limb starting here at roughly 12 to 14 inches above the soil line. That's perfect. I'd like to have another scaffold limb coming out this way, another scaffold limb coming out this way. So in order to encourage it, I'm going to go ahead and remove this central leader right here and see if we can't develop more scaffold limbs. Ultimately, I only want to have about 4. One toward me, one going that direction, one going this direction, and one coming out toward you. So we've got our tree pre-prepped. I like to look at that root system. If it looks like it's particularly root bound, I'll go in there and loosen that soil a little bit right off the base. This one's not particularly root bound, so if we just loosen the bottom of it like that, kind of undo those roots, they'll recognize that they're no longer in a container. Give them a little bit of scratching. You can do it with your hands or with your clippers. and then that guy's ready to go in the hole. A little bit of roughing it up on the sides, and it's ready to go in the hole. So I've pre-dug the hole, and to give you a feel for our soil, we have red clay and rock. So we have a very, very tough soil. When I set that down in the hole, ideally, I want the top of the root system to be slightly higher than the soil around it. The worst mistake I can make is to plant that tree too deep. So if the top of the root system is even or slightly higher than the soil around it, we're in great shape. So we look at our mixture over here. Love composted cow manure. We'll pop that on top of our soil blend, and I try to go ahead and mix in a good 1-to-1 ratio. However much compost I've got, that's the amount of black cow compost manure I want to put it in. Just mix it in together. You can't add too much. Thankfully, it's not going to burn our soils. One of the things our soils are the most deficient in is organic matter. So we pop those guys in, get a nice blend or a nice mix. And then we'll start feeding that in around the root system. Get that tucked in there. Whoop. Occasionally have a few roots left over from something else that was growing in there. Get a nice load going in here. And then once we've got it about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way full, I like to come in and tamp it in with my hands. Push that down with your fingers, get a nice tight fit, and then you're ready to really roll it on for sure. So we've got this guy right here going in. There we go. Some more of the organic amendment. Go through there. And like I said, you can't burn with this, so you can be liberal. Blend that in with our existing soil. More of our soil. Getting it all covered there. Then back in with either your hands or the opposite end of your shovel, kind of tamping that in and around. Get that smooth all the way around. There we go. Build that up a little bit. Then we'll come back. I always love to top everything off with a little bit of mulch. So it won't matter whether you're using pine straw like I have here or pine bark mulch, but a good 2-inch layer or so, we'll come back and fill in all of that. And that's going to help keep those weeds down, helps keep the moisture in where you want it, and it helps buffer the temperature. When it's very cold outside, the mulch helps keep it a little warmer. When it's very hot outside, the mulch helps keep it a little cooler. And it protects the evaporation from the soil. So we're going to keep that water in there where we want it. So that's a stone fruit, peaches, plums, nectarines. That's a good technique to get you off to a great start. If you like this video, please subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, or even better, please come visit us in person here in Jemison, Alabama. We would love for you to follow us on social media, or please visit us on the website at petalsfromthepast.com.